Hey there everybody, same deal as before, still no internet, so still no XCM, but this is something a little different than what I usually put up. This is a replay from Schlock, from the EU server, platooned up with Torpedo and Elite Cake, playing the 4502B, which I have never actually played, and so this will be the first video on my channel of this tank. You've probably seen plenty of me shooting at them, but never actually what it's like to play one. Now this game isn't remarkable for the amount of damage done or the amount of kills, because there wasn't honestly very much at all. What this game is remarkable for is how much damage this 4502 managed to bounce or absorb before it finally exploded. Which is kind of the 4502B's deal, especially since it was buffed. Schlock heads south along with both his platoon mates, while the Tigers cover the north. Now the north is looking kind of thin, so this is going to have to be a hard push down here, otherwise things might go badly. Torpedo and Elite Cake begin looking for better positions. Being much lighter armoured tanks, they can't really do what Schlock is about to do, which is drive face first into the enemy team. With no targets lit yet, he just continues straight ahead. First thing spotted is a 3002D on the low road. And here we go. The enemy 4502 has actually had the exact same idea. Schlock gets a shot into his side armour and bounces a couple of incoming hits there. Now while he has his front to the enemy, he does have very strong armour, but he is kind of exposed here. He'd be much safer in an actual side scrape position, but to get to one may be a slight issue, particularly with the arty now on his case as well. I should note that Schlock uses a zoom mod that increases the maximum level of zoom while in gun sight mode, which is why the gun appears so hideously inaccurate. The gun, of course, isn't very inaccurate. It's not spectacularly accurate either. It's not a tack driver, but it appears to be affected by horrible wounds simply because he's zoomed in so far. Now, of course, if he'd run into any other tanks in this area, he probably would have got quite a large amount of damage, but because he's fighting another 4502B, who is now also in a side scrape position, there wasn't really much he could do except bounce off of it repeatedly, or wait for it to expose too much side. And point worth noting is the enemy team had a platoon stupid enough to bring an M6 Heavy to a Tier 9 match. Schlock uses the low ground here to move up on the enemy 4502. And sure enough, he's got some shots at it now. Unfortunately, not enough to actually hit it. The only real weakness of the 4502 now frontally is the cupola, which is what he's aiming for, but of course it's a struggle to even hit it at anything other than point blank range, let alone to actually get a shot through it. And so while the enemy 4502 can't really do anything to Schlock, Schlock also can't really do much to it. And there goes another shot, right past the cupola and into the rock. Despite the really light force sent up north, Schlock's team have established at least some degree of map control, although the 2801 and Tiger have made a break for cap. It's actually really strange that the enemy didn't send more tanks west. I guess they must have all come south and camped up in the sort of centre-south area. Schlock gets a shot through the side of the turret there, as the enemy 4502 is distracted, engaging somebody else, but he's now alone up here. And he's being focused. An unlucky bounce there. He backs into cover a bit just to get away from the arty mostly, and also to get away from whatever it was that hit him before, probably the Waffenträger Panzer IV. And slowly he begins to creep his way back up, see if he can get shots at the 4502 without being blown up by the TDs. Which he's able to do, and he takes it out. Leet Cake and Torpedo are both putting in some work as well, with Torpedo flexing back to the friendly base to clear it out, and Leet Cake down in the low corner still fighting his way up with the T-43. Now, although none of these TDs are particularly hardy targets, not even the 704 these days, they do still pack quite a lot of punch, and they're in a favourable position. They're up high, they've got plenty of cover and concealment. Really, they've got an ideal setup to turn this game around. But thankfully, our plucky heroes aren't about to let that happen. With Torpedo moving back in through the north and west of the map to come and assist with flank shots, and Elite Cake covering the T-43's advance, Schlock also begins to move up and get some hits into these TDs, who are still mostly bouncing off it. And the enemy T-28 Proto is in a world of hurt, not just because he's playing a T-28 Proto, in fact. Torpedo makes a break up the base ramp, supported by the Tiger up the other base ramp, while the Waffenträger goes back to defend. Unlucky there, not able to finish off the T-28, while the T-28 was able to get a shot through Schlock, I'm not sure where. Maybe... no, it must have been a cupola shot because it didn't go through his lower plate. The lower plate is now very thick, but most of what makes it so bouncy now is the angle combined with the thickness. If you can catch it from underneath, it's still not too hard to penetrate it. Schlock finally goes down, Torpedo is also taken out, and so Leet Cake is forced to clean up. He's able to get the T-28 Proto, although he didn't take it in the process. And so now Schlock's team are actually mostly on low health, except that Tiger, but given his position, that health might not last long. At least until the 704 decides it's going to run away and engage the two lower health tanks, which it knows it can kill, so long as it doesn't miss or bounce. But the 704 is not shit as far as the Centurion is concerned, and the L7 will quite comfortably punch through a 704's frontal armor at basically any range you'll find them in the game. This is a bit of a slow match, you know, not the kind of fluid, fast-paced medium matches you're probably used to, and certainly not, you know, going around circling people and shooting them in the back and getting huge amounts of damage or whatever. But this is a demonstration of the 4502B, and more specifically what the 4502B does and what it is good for. If you want a section of the map just locked down and the enemy unable to push on it, the 4502 will certainly do that for quite a long time. The only real way to deal with it is either get close enough that you can reliably hit it in the cupola, flank it if possible. Obviously its sides and rear are much weaker, and also if it's engaging something else, so its turret's turned, so it's broadside to the sides of the turret, make a good target. Excuse me. You know, Artillery, if possible, will help out against them enormously, particularly because of the frontal engine deck. It's nice and easy to hit. But in games without artillery, your real sort of draw card against a 4502B, other than mobility, is tier 10 tank destroyers, or tank destroyers with tier 10 guns, I should say, because realistically speaking, they are the only things in the game that are likely to pen it through the front without either a significant advantage in angle or just firing pure gold. And I should note, even pure gold in a lot of situations doesn't work. I've come up against 4502s actually right after the buff happened in my T30, shot at their lower plate at fairly close range, you know, not from an uphill position either, I slightly downhill, and still bounced. So that lower plate is just disgustingly hard to pen now. I think the tank may have been maybe very slightly overbuffed. I say very slightly because while it is really unpleasant to fight one from the front now, it doesn't really have much else going for it. You know, it's really the only thing it has to set it apart from the E75, which is in every other respect a superior tank. So I guess the 4502P needs something, and if it has to be, you know, a just basically invulnerable frontal armor setup, then fair enough. If you come across one, you can't pen it, and there's nothing near you that can, your best bet is to just hope it loses interest, disengage, go somewhere else, shoot some tanks you can pen, come back later, or find a way around it. And that's a pretty sound theory for World of Tanks in general. If you come up against a target you can't effectively do anything against, you know, instead of desperately switching to HE or trying to shoot the same place and eventually hope for a high roll on the RNG for pen, that kind of stuff's futile. It just wastes your ammo and your time, and your team are dying while it's happening. Your best bet is just leave it alone, go somewhere else, as long as it doesn't have the speed to chase you, that is. If it does have the speed to chase you, you're in a bit of trouble. But just go away, deal with its friends, come back for it when everyone else is dealt with. Leave the hard ones till last. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Want to have a look at some more of these replays that were posted up in the thread on Something Awful, see which ones I want to put up, and hopefully get at least maybe 5 or so of them done before Friday, and then I should be getting my internet hooked up then, so I'll be able to actually go back to playing the game, and if all goes according to plan, within a couple of weeks / a month or so, I should be able to put up some stuff with the T55. I hope, I really hope, because I really want that tank. Otherwise, obviously I can't do the Wheezy 111 mission because I haven't been able to play, but even if I had been able to, I don't think I would have done it anyway. I'm not really that interested in getting a tier 8 Chinese premium heavy, particularly because I want to get the actual tech tree Wheezy 111, which is ridiculously strong, and, you know, having that kind of armor layout at tier 8 would certainly be, you know, a good thing to have, but with the D25T as a gun, I don't think so. I think I'll stick to the tech tree version, and, you know, if I need a Chinese heavy crew trainer, I'll just convert a crew from the Type 59 or something. I'll figure something out. But, you know, it doesn't really interest me, although I do tend to collect tanks and then not play them just because I've got to catch them all. There are a few tanks in the game that I have no real interest in ever getting, and that is one of them. So I will shut up here and leave you to go back to whatever you were doing before you came to watch this, and I will see you on the next one.